Can't really believe this is happening. I'm having a bit of a moment here. It's great though, really good. I've been advocating for better transit in Canada and around the world for quite some time. And one of the biggest things I've spent my time and effort advocating for is more platform screen doors, which are awesome for a ton of reasons that I'm obviously going to tell you about in this video, obviously. And as it turns out, platform screen doors are finally coming to the Toronto subway system. So let's talk about how we got here, what your city can learn, where we're going, and why this is just a really big freaking deal. You can roll the intro now. Canada has good transit systems, really, but like our neighbors to the south, we tend to be sticky about some common things around the world that would be good to have. For example, modern suburban rail, affordable projects, and yes, platform screen doors, which apparently are good enough for the Phoenix airport, but not for the New York City subway, at least not yet. But that's changing, and I'm incredibly excited about it. Because you'll know if you've been following me for an extended period of time that I'm kind of into the doors. I've made a couple videos about them, most notably this one 3 years ago. I've written about it, I've talked about it whenever I can. Basically all of the Yamanote line stations have platform gates.
This is even more impressive as the line features platform gates, while every station features platform gates on screen doors as well as level boarding, as well as platform screen doors at all stations. All stations will feature platform screen doors.
Platform screen doors. And I've also tweeted a lot about it. So now it's happening, but where, and why, and how? Well, the first thing I like to highlight to people is that while platform screen doors have traditionally been the mainstay of systems where people go, wow, that's a really cool subway system, mostly in Asia, they're now honestly a commodity product. If you're not familiar, platform screen doors are a tall barrier that sits at the edge of the platform, with doors much like elevator doors that are typically made out of glass. These doors align with the doors on the trains that stop at the platform and open in sync with them. They also come in a ton of different variants, from lower waist height gates up to taller head height ones. Santiago has them, Paris has them, Sydney has them, Delhi has them, London has them, Barcelona has them, and hell, even systems in developing countries, like the new metro in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which I will have a future video about, so make sure you stay tuned for that, even have them. They're just a default for modern good subway systems, rail systems in general, in fact. As it turns out, Canada is actually already getting them. The Montreal REM network, which will be a whole new regional train system for Montreal, will have platform screen doors at every single station. And the new Ontario Line subway in Toronto will also have them. And people often forget that Toronto actually does already have platform screen doors, albeit only at 2 stations on the Airport Express train, which is arguably the first mass transit system in North America to have platform screen doors. It opened back in 2015. But what's new is that we're actually going to start to retrofit doors onto the existing subway. The stuff that really takes the wind out of people's sails with some of the projects I mentioned is that they're new projects. People who already got in early with the whole transit thing and have been living near a subway station for a long time, well, their regular commute probably doesn't have platform screen doors and might not in the future. There's something that feels annoying about the fact that the people who've been using transit for the longest might be the ones who don't actually get to see the state-of-the-art stuff. Retrofitting existing systems means that the regular transit riders who already use the over 200 rapid transit stations that exist across Canada can start to see the benefits, and just generally get a nice upgrade to their stations. Now, if you like this video and you aren't already subscribed, please consider doing so. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, if you're already subscribed, or if you just did it right now, don't forget to turn on all notifications so that you can stay in touch with the latest videos I'm making and help spread the word about better transit. So you'll probably ask, can you actually retroactively add platform doors, or are they something that you have to design in from the beginning when you build a station? Fortunately, the answer is yes. There are some showstoppers when it comes to retrofitting platform screen doors, the biggest of which tends to be whether your platforms are actually strong enough to hold their weight. as well as whether your train signaling system that controls the train's movement is sophisticated enough to stop trains in more or less the same place to align them with the doors every time they arrive at the same platform. The last major thing is whether you have a fleet of trains that has the doors in mostly the same position. There are technologies that are in places like Japan and other parts of the world that have sort of tried to solve the issue of trains with doors in different places, but they're not widely deployed. If you can solve these problems, there's little to no reason you can't install platform screen doors. And in fact, in my favorite example, Paris Line 1, which opened in 1900, platform screen doors were installed across the entire line when it was automated, even in stations with difficult steel columns and harsh curvature. If Paris can do this on an over 100-year-old rail line, and quite affordably at that, then any city in North America should be able to do this. And Paris isn't even on the leading edge. In Asia, some intercity rail services have screen doors, and in fact some tram systems do as well. But stepping back, why does one actually want platform screen doors? The biggest thing is obviously safety. With a barrier between the platforms and the tracks at a station, people cannot accidentally or purposefully end up on the tracks. And this is huge in general. People with disabilities, particularly vision problems, can find regular subway stations incredibly terrifying because there is a large gap that you can fall into. People who are just standing on crowded platforms will also appreciate the fact that if they trip or if someone bumps into them, they won't go careening off the side of the platform. Of course, ending up on the tracks of a subway system isn't exactly the place most people want to be, because of course there is that initial fall off of the platforms, which tend to be fairly high, and then you're on steel tracks with trains running and an electrified power rail in many cases. Not fun. These days, I kind of look at platform screen doors like the doors on an elevator. It would be kind of weird to have an elevator without a door that you could just accidentally fall into the elevator shaft, and the same is true for subway systems. Now, it is true though that people mistakenly associate platform screen doors with only being about safety, which definitely isn't the case. Platform screen doors also improve system reliability by preventing trash and other debris from ending up on the tracks where it can easily cause track fires because of all of that high voltage electricity flowing. They also allow for the isolation of the tracks from the station facilities themselves, meaning that in case of a fire, for example, the train can be isolated from the station, which is great for everyone's health and safety. If you've sealed the screen doors and the tunnels from the station facilities, you can also heat or cool your stations, which is a big part of why they emerged in Singapore so early. It's a hot place. As it turns out, operations can get better too, because since the doors are going to be permanently affixed to the platform, riders know where to wait and where the doors of the train are going to open, allowing them to queue up in an organized fashion and quickly board and deboard trains. They also help train operations, because trains can pull in at full speed and exit at full speed without affecting riders, thanks to the protective barriers. As it turns out, screen doors can even make stations less expensive to build. Since you know where the doors will be, you can place columns where doors won't be and create a simpler, less expensive structure. So then, what's happening in Toronto? Well, to start, the busiest station in the entire city, scratch that, the entire country, is getting a huge, massive, multi-year expansion. Bloor-Yonge handles over 200,000 passengers every day, with 2 large side platforms for Line 1 and a tiny, way too congested island platform for Line 2. And so this project will add new entrances and accessibility features, as well as convert the existing island platform on Line 2 into a larger side platform, and then construct a new second side platform for trains headed in the other direction on Line 2. This is very similar to the operation that happened at Union Station several years ago, that converted the existing island platform into one side platform and then built a new side platform for the other track. The new platforms and the existing ones will get new vertical circulation elements to connect them to the Line 1 platforms, and a whole new larger concourse area will be constructed in between the 2 platform levels. And more circulation space will be created at the top of the vertical circulation to better connect between the Line 1 and Line 2 platform levels. And of course everything will get a nice fresh coat of paint, which is a bigger deal than it seems, because when Toronto rebuilds a subway station, they really go all out. The rebuilt stations look like brand new stations, albeit in the structure of an old station with lower ceilings and the like. But the most exciting bit was a last-minute addition, which you can tell from the notably platform screen door free renders. As it turns out, just recently, and quite quietly, the TTC updated the project website for the Bloor-Yonge expansion program, mentioning that they intend to install platform edge doors, as they call them, at the closeout of the project on the Line 1 platforms. That's possible because Line 1 has a new platform screen door capable signaling system that has been installed, albeit with many shutdowns, over the last couple of years. Now this is huge, and I'm really surprised the TTC didn't make a bigger announcement about it, given that it's a genuinely good thing. Now, I will say that it's a bad thing that we were initially planning an expensive major station renovation in the center of the city and not planning to install platform screen doors, but at the end of the day, the TTC decided to do the right thing, and for that, major kudos, guys. By installing platform screen doors at what is the most important system on the subway network, the TTC has showed they are incredibly committed to the concept, and that's really exciting. Now, to be clear, the Line 2 platforms won't have screen doors, because the planned Line 2 signal upgrades haven't happened yet. Which is too bad, because Line 2's narrow island platform at Bloor-Young could really benefit from the additional space provided by screen doors. That being said, the TTC is being forward-thinking on this, and they're planning the Line 2 platform upgrades to support platform screen doors when those signaling upgrades are completed. What I will say is that since screen doors are not technically necessary, even if they are common sense on this project, it's really important that we celebrate and encourage the TTC's decision to continue forward with them, as well as give politicians a big thumbs up. That way, if the project ends up running a little late or over budget, people think twice before trying to cut that element of the project. Now, if you're in another city, how should you go about doing the same? Well, first of all, if you have a subway or rail system that doesn't have modern CBTC, that's communications-based train control signaling, you should start advocating for that. And if you see a station that's being rebuilt, you should ask if it's being rebuilt to support the weight of platform screen doors. And if it isn't, it should be. Having these fundamental conditions in a place where they're not going to block future progress is really important so that when the opportunity arises to install platform screen doors, there's no showstoppers. Another really useful tactic, advocates in Toronto were relentless about talking to politicians, planners, and tweeting at the TTC every time there was a disruption or delay because something fell onto the tracks on the subway system. Politicians and planners listen if you're polite, reasonable, and if you bug them a lot. Now, for other Canadian cities like Vancouver, Montreal, and Ottawa, who all have some form of CBTC and could be installing platform screen doors like the TTC is, it's time to step up. In fact, Montreal actually had plans to install platform screen doors at 10 or so stations in the past and ended up canceling that, which was lame and not very progressive or forward-looking. Now, the cynical among you might say, one station, call me when you've done all 75. But in reality, one station is like 75% of the battle. I think once residents see the benefits in terms of comfort and safety of the screen doors and stations, and the TTC and other transit operators see how much better it makes operations and how many disruptions it prevents, platform screen doors will quickly be rolled out to other interchange stations and then the rest of the stations. Now, we should be pushing a bit harder, because for example, the Eglinton Crosstown line will have CBTC, but it won't have screen doors from day one. And we're planning other subway extensions that will also have CBTC, but again, won't have screen doors from day one, which they probably should. At the end of the day, we did a good thing. We pushed for better and the city delivered. So I'm happy. Thanks for watching.